back at it again, Lenny. Coming to you live. It's Saturday night. I'm just kidding. It's not Saturday night. But we are here. What are we going to talk about today?
Oh, did you put your banner up?
No, I don't have a banner.
Oh.
Do I have a banner? I don't have a banner. Should I have a banner?
Kat said yes.
But I don't think I have one.
Oh, okay.
So I'd have to make
see.
one.
You have.
But we'll get there in time. Hello, everybody. My name's Abby. What am I? Who am I? I'm a therapist and a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, and I'm here with my pal Lenny, and we are going to do our twice weekly Q&A for survivors. Hello, Moon Pie. Hi, Haley.
Hi, Haley.
For survivors, the people who love them. Hello, Abigail. Lauren, I have also been looking forward to it. Lenny, have you been looking forward to
the
it?
live?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. So, this is for survivors, people who love survivors, people. Kayla, happy Tuesday to you. And we just answer questions about the reality of childhood sexual abuse, what you expect to see and feel as a survivor, and what you can do about it. And what else? What else do we do? We make jokes. Sometimes we dance. And
Wiggle.
We do a lot of wiggling. And we create a community. This is a community. So if you don't know if you belong here, you probably do. In the sense that, we find connection, right? Or a corrective emotional experience, as I like to call it. So, do we have any? Hello, Becca. Hello, Becca. One of the things, I did change my subscription price. I'm sorry, it went up. I'm getting better at, whatever that feeling is of saying, but the monies for the subscription help fund, thank you so much, help fund the building of the community, the online community that we are in the process of creating. And like anything, help is only help if it's practical. So, the community should also offer help, practical help to survivors, because a lot of times you cannot leave abuse without having the ability to feed and house yourself. That's just reality, because survival is first and foremost what we're all trying to do. So, for fun today, I thought we would start with a question, and Lenny has a list of questions. And Lenny, would you like to give a question, and
Sure.
we will attempt to answer it as a collective? Oh, one thing, if something resonates, it's $5.99 now instead of $2.99. I also have the ability to gift 5 subscriptions. So if you want to be part of the community and you have a need, then we can figure that out. If something resonates with you in this community, one of the things that we do is we throw up a ladybug, because as a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, we have lived, I'll just speak for myself. I was trapped inside of my own experience for a very, very long time, and thought that I was just broken. So Lauren, that's going to happen in the other space. I can't do it specifically on TikTok, but we could figure it out. Oh, $5.99 a month is my understanding, Chessert. And throwing up a ladybug, right, if something resonates, is a way of seeing that there are other people. They're not alone. So throw up a ladybug. Lenny, hit me.
All right.
Remember, not therapy, just one woman's opinion. Peer-reviewed, usually. Peer-reviewed, supported opinion.
Is it usual to not know what's happening when first remembering the childhood sexual abuse during the crisis period?
one more time. Somebody asked me a question about my car. And that threw me off.
Is it normal to not know what's going on when you first start remembering?
Yes. Would you like me to extrapolate? Is it normal to not know what is happening when you enter into the crisis period? So first, let's define the crisis period for all folks. So first of all, Mary Loftus, who, if you don't know who Dr. Mary Loftus is, out of the University of California, Irvine, my alma mater, she is trotted out to deny recovered memories. So, first of all, her research is a bit bonkers. There are things you can fake memories of. It is, one, we've proved you can fake memories of being lost in a mall as a child, or a lot of other sort of normative experiences. It's hard to, we have not proved that you can fake memories of sexual abuse. I won't say that it never happens, because that's not, I'm not the arbiter of reality. But at any rate, Mary Loftus did a study on memory that showed that approximately 30% of people who were sexually abused in childhood experienced some form of forgetting and remembering. So 30% of people, that is a high number, right? From the woman who says it doesn't happen, 30% of the people in her study had some form of forgetting and remembering. So why? There you go, Becca. That's the eternal question. So in the crisis period, what we do, right, when we start to, I don't know what the right word would be, Lenny. Acknowledge, believe, see, feel, experience what we've experienced.
Experience is a good one.
Experience, because it is a full experience. It doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't make sense, right, to the brain to not know what you know. It's very scary. It's like that moment, I don't know if anybody else has this ever, where you're like, I forgot how to drive, right? I just had this pulling out of a gas station where I was like, oh, wait a minute. It's like that minute, right? That minute of being like, wait, what? I know how to drive. Of course, as a trans woman, your experiences are valid, Seth. As a human being, your experiences are valid. What, that you don't know how to drive? Nothing? Is the most common intrusive thought? Mine is that I forget what words are. I'll be like, how do I spell yes? And I'll be like, I know how to spell yes, right? But it's sort of like this kind of, wait, what's going on? Wait a minute. I know what I know. I know what, right? But I don't know how I could not know or do know. So this is like a very, very common thing. And it's a space, the crisis period itself, where it doesn't make sense because you're making sense. And if you've lived dissociated for a very long time, part of how you've done that is to be the problem, not accept there was a problem. So, Rissa, that's a really great question. So why do I feel like I made it up when I know it? So there's so when you look at childhood trauma, it isn't specific just to childhood sexual abuse, but childhood trauma, a child dissociates. So dissociated memory is traumatic memory, which means that it's not typically linear memory. How it encodes is in our physical experience.
Oh my God.
What? I don't even know what that means.
I think they mean meow.
Oh, because of that one time I had to pretend to be a cat? You remember that? I'm kind of new to this TikTok, and there was a really...
What is mogging?
I don't even know what's mogging.
Do you know this person?
I don't know anything. I'm just here.
Identify yourself.
Who are you? Why do you want me to mew? I'm not going to mew. That's not what I'm here to do, is to, tapping. Tapping can be really positive. Why is tapping positive? Because it helps bring you into your body, out of a dissociated place. So part of this, right, when we start to really question our experience, we're going to just table that person.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm distracted. Here we go. Goodbye.
So part of why tapping works is because it helps you come into your body. When you start questioning the feelings in your body, the sensations in your body, and when we start to feel through the reality of what we've lived through, you have to remember that in childhood you had to deny that. Not because, you didn't feel it, but because it wasn't helpful to your survival to feel it. That's how this thing works. So, tapping, right? Any kind of somatic work, anything that helps you be in your body, helps you less be like, is my body real? Is what I feel real? Is what I know real? Well, sometimes when you start to come in your body, you start to release fear that's been stuck there. Right? Like, coming into your body means you're going to feel sensations in your body. If you never had the opportunity to let what was inside of your body out of your body, let it, right, literally be real, because it wasn't safe for it to be real, then it's going to be incredibly normal for when you enter into your body to feel terror. Yeah. Well, that's, a lot of times when people, so the first time that I knew I had been sexually abused was through a release, aka a panic attack. And it was such a big panic attack. I have got a really cool thing that happens when I have a panic attack that's like, where freeze is not just a concept. That my hands freeze in this position, like Spock. I literally freeze. I cannot move my arms. And that release, right, was me releasing the emotional data from the harm that was done to me so that I could know it. Because I was safe enough to know it. I was not safe enough to know it prior to that. Yes, exactly. Safe enough to know it. Safe enough to know it. Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't feel emotional data if you're not safe enough, hello Maria, to know it. I mean, nothing. Maybe it was embarrassing. Maybe it was endearing. I don't know. So, if this resonates with anybody, feel free to throw up a ladybug. Yeah. This is meant, this period of not making sense. It's not about, the way I think of it is like I was like, oh my God, I make sense. But then nothing else does. That's the shift. Hi, Equus. You like that?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Did you like that? That was, Lenny. I wasn't.
Just kidding.
I'm just really looking forward to how Lenny is going to drag me on this live because
I'm not.
Yesterday, so how are we?
Hi, Maria.
How are you? I want to ask. How am I? I'm good. How are you right now?
I'm okay.
Yeah. The present is fine. How are all of you? If only that was the case. Nothing. If only that was the case.
That's not it. Nothing.
It's really, so as you know, those fine people, well, we are delighted you are here with us. How are you feeling? Yeah, those are the emojis Nothing is talking about. Yesterday, one of the things, a ton of pain. That makes sense. What does not make sense is that there are things that people can be, that we have things that, we can help people with pain. And, again, those things can harm too, but they get withheld a lot for people who need them and get given to people who don't.
So, besides punching yourself in the butthole, what else can you do for pain?
Oh, you're talking about...
I mean, just in general pain, but that is just one thing.
But that's for a very specific kind of pain.
Yeah, we can talk about other kinds of pains.
We can talk about other kinds of pains. First of all, how you respond to pain is important. Because it can actually be very... I'm begging your finest. I don't think Nothing was here for that. So Nothing, there was... Do you remember this live?
It was a really long time ago.
It was a long time ago where I talked about... It's called Proctalgia fulgax. That's not how you say it, but it's how I say it. And... And basically, it is a feeling, it's a pelvic floor disorder where you have a stabbing pain in your rectum. And this is very common in survivors of sexual trauma to have some kind of pelvic floor dysfunction is the term. It's the worst. Yeah. So provide context. So, when I get it, if I get it bad enough, it will make me pass out. It's that degree of pain. And the, I get every time I try to talk about this, the standard of care, there's a medicine, you can do some medicine stuff, but is something called the punch maneuver, where you...
Punch maneuver. Is that the actual term?
Yes, it's the punch maneuver.
Okay.
And you literally punch yourself in the anus. Which is not easy to do, to be clear. But this was a live that we all, and then there was something about, at the time I had for real, I had bleached blonde hair, and so somebody said Eminem, and I thought that they were saying that Eminem had come out as saying that he had, Proctalgia fulgax, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so great that he came out as a national spokesperson, but that was not the case. So.
That's what I'm saying.
I am not going to mew like a cat, and I am not going to show you how to punch yourself in the rectum. I am just going to say I believe in all survivors' ability to solve this one on their own.
What if that's...
survivors worldwide practice the punch. It's really good.
What if that's something that you put,
I will put on the website. I will put... We will have, as part of our community, different tutorials. I don't know that I am going... Yes, see, Ammo Barbie. That's who it was, Equus. Thank you. Ammo Barbie. Listen, Jasmine, it's not your arms. It's the angle. The issue is the angle. It is very difficult to get the angle. Now, if you are hypermobile, which many of us are, you might have a better shot at it, but then it's a difficulty with force. She was great. Honestly, that experience was wonderful. I needed it. So basically, pain is common in bodies of people who have experienced childhood sexual trauma. Pelvic floor pain is a big one. Hi, Sirius. But there's also lots of other kinds of pain. And we can talk about, like, again, believing your own experience doesn't, oh my God, I love her. Ammo Barbie.
Who's Ammo Barbie?
That's the live where I mewed like a cat. Yeah. It was a really special experience. See, I love people. I fucking love people.
Yeah, I came back when you were on the ground. I missed.
You missed it.
Mm-hmm.
You're a loss.
I know.
Yeah, so we can talk about how to meet pain. So believing your own experience is not about just like, I believe. So one of the things I'm going to do, so my friend Molly, who I've posted out here, Molly Strong, she's a coach, she's amazing. I am going to start hosting lives that are not just me because again, it's so much better than just me. So, we're going to do that. That's coming up, but maybe Ammo Barbie should be on here. Yeah. So Lauren, one of the things about this kind of pain, and what you find like as part of a profile of people who are survivors of, trauma, but specifically sexual trauma, is like, we hurt, but we carry on.
Hell yeah.
Right? Like, we hurt, but we carry on. So waking up every day being like, oh, my back hurts. So?
Just a normal Tuesday.
Not going to change anything. Oh, I have a huge stabbing pain in my anus. Keep going.
Might not even punch it.
That can wait. Right? Lenny said a great line to me. I took my stitches out yesterday.
No.
But Letty, I was like, we don't have to go. I don't even, it's not a big deal. And
for stitches that have been in for how long?
They were in for almost 2 weeks.
Almost 2 weeks, okay?
I had to take them out myself because we don't know, Survivor, we don't have time for this, right? Like, we don't have time. I don't have time to take care of myself. That's not the medicine, because I whacked the roof of my car. Maria. But the medicine is to actually believe the pain. It doesn't mean you have to go to the doctor, but the medicine is often allowing, hi Din, what's happening in your body to matter, particularly when we're talking about autoimmune stuff, right? So like, and when it comes to like interstitial cystitis, right, which is like bladder pain, and we don't have a lot of stuff to treat, and we don't have a lot of things. Part of what you see with people, right, again, or with arthritis, or is that people will just live on the outside like none of this matters. The sharp, piercing noise. You mean my voice? My voice. Right? So part of it is we want to start, right, literally working with the pain in the present. So if you have a stabbing pain in your anus, you don't keep walking until you pass out. Right? You stop, and as somebody said beautifully, take a breath. That's when we talk about believing our own experience. It's not being like, it's real, and we're continuing forward. It means I'm going to take an action that says it's real. And for most of us, myself included, one of my great fears is that if I give myself an inch, I'm going to collapse. Yeah, exactly. Punching yourself in the anus is acknowledging that you are real. It's like a different, so self-harm right, is a way many of us learned how to acknowledge that what was happening inside of us was real. Self-care is meant to do the same. It doesn't have to be a bath, for God's sakes. You know, it can be punching yourself in the anus. Maria, I don't know what to do. Maybe, do you think it's the computer being too close to it?
Is that better, Maria?
It's my noise.
Okay. I'll move. Oh.
No, I don't want, no, don't leave. God forbid. No, it's worse. Now it's worse.
Now it's worse? All right. I'll just open the computer again.
Well, that's not how we do it. I don't know, guys. But does that resonate, right? So, like, part of this is just simply being like, I am real, therefore I acknowledge what's really happening in my body. I don't have to call 911. I think it's just the computer is right next to it. So if we just move it better. But then, Lenny, where are you? Yeah.
I can just sit over here.
Lenny, that's not...
No, really.
Look, I leave doors open. Anybody else?
Oh, that was me, actually.
The phone is on in a holder.
Oh, I wonder if it's the light.
Is it the light? I mean, What about now? Who's the light? Please. I don't need a light. No. It's gone. It's gone. It was the light. Fuck that light. Fuck that light. Okay, then let it come back, please. So that was a great question. I hate those noises. I hate all noises. Amazing. Amazing. All right. Oh, I have to do something. Thank you all for saying something. We believe in this. We believe in improving your experience. That's what we're doing here.
The form.
Oh, shit. I have to put the form. So if you're interested in the community, I'm adding a short form. You can put that. You can also...
Yeah.
Oh, we got 28 subscribers, team. We're going to build this. We're going to build it. What are we going to do?
Let's do chilies because we're spicy.
We are spicy. I think my favorite line about sex is relating that I've said thus far is, why would I not want to do something I'm good at?
I mean, it's real though.
It is real. Top tier. At any rate, more questions, less questions. How do we all feel? What do we want to do? Yeah, exactly. Oh, pain in the body. Yeah, and so like part of it is too, like, I don't know, somebody give me an example of a different pain.
Fibromyalgia.
Yeah, but where?
Everywhere.
I know, but you have to...
Whoa.
Whoa, team! So, but like you have to give me a body pain. Itching. Amazing. Oh, Brandon, there you. Acid reflux. Neck pain. Gut pain. God, I love all of you. Okay, so.
We all have them all.
Hand joints. Amen. Joints in your hands. Yep. Lower back pain, very much into the hip. Anybody else? Had way too many MRIs for a 40-year-old woman, but whatever. So basically, if your hands hurt, right, it's the part of your body, then the idea is that pain, right, is meant to draw our attention. So you have to attend. Now, that doesn't mean that you necessarily, like how you attend can basically, vary. But it has to actually involve an orientation. Does that make sense? So like, if, right, my back is in pain, then what I am built to do is nothing. Nothing. There'll be things that I do unconsciously to acknowledge that pain throughout the day, right? Where I'll find myself like twisting around or leaning back or stretching, but it's not active. It's not conscious. It's like my body is actually trying to be like, pay attention to it. Look at it. It hurts. But my brain is like, what? No, not a thing. So what I want to do is I want to bring brain and body together by being like, let's do something. And doing something, right, for me with my back often looks like spending, 20 minutes on my super amazing shiatsu massager, right? Or putting on Icy Hot, which I really enjoy. Yeah, exactly. Hypersensitivity and hyposensitivity are, it's, I think, again, just like sex is relating, we ground this into some kind of like two different ends of the spectrum. It's the same genesis, and like we can have both at the same time about different things, right? That's normal. So pelvic pain is a really, really, challenging one. And this is going to sound really strange, but like it's engaging with it. I'm going to talk about self-stimulation. I didn't need to say it like that, but I was trying to make the TikToks not censor me. But part of it is like what you want to kind of do is like treat that space tenderly. Try to give it a different experience other than pain. A lot of the pain we're talking about when we're talking about pain associated with trauma comes from the freeze response. It's rigid.
Word.
Right? It's super rigid. So whether it's pelvic pain, whether it's gut pain, whether it's joint pain, whether it's not about being like, let me stretch the heck out of it, but it's about like helping it. Yeah, exactly. It's helping it release a little bit. And just like anything, you don't want to go too big, right? Because that's not going to help it either. But it's engaging with it so the muscle, Yeah, so I always say, I am a joyful sufferer of ulcerative colitis since I was 10 years old because, duh. And I have a lot of gut pain. And one of the things that was really interesting for me to learn even recently was that I have ulcerative colitis, but one of the things that happens with lots of survivors when we look at pelvic floor dysfunction and it's all tightened and freezed up is constipation. And, of course we're going to talk about poop, but it's really something to understand that like what you expect that to look like isn't always what it looks like, and helping your body, right? Like literally, yeah, people, I'm sorry, Angela. This is something that's very important to like help oneself. Yeah. Anyway. Now I'm just rambling about, Miralax.
Question?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. The questioning is part of the dissociation. The questioning is part of the survival adaptation.
Okay.
Children forget both through the way traumatic memory works, but also by working hard to forget.
Well, that goes with this question. How do you work with a survivor who doesn't have concrete or tangible memory?
Like
how do you work with it?
But they know?
Yeah. I'm assuming.
I'm always like, what does this mean? plenty.
I mean, I didn't write these questions. These are questions from y'all. Sorry.
But no, but like you don't have to remember to work with trauma. I don't need the details of your trauma to help you at all. You don't need the details of your trauma to help you. Because if somebody knows, right, or even just suspects, is afraid of, is, this is something that's not what you work with. You work with the trauma in the body. You work with creating safety. You work with helping that person create safety. You don't need to know what happened to them to know that the medicine is safety and being believed. Not sort of like, I know what happened to you. I don't know what happened to you. That's not what believing means. Believing means I believe you are real. Oh. Where am I? New goal. Does that, right? Like, I think a lot of times people get caught up in having to process what you experienced. I don't know what that even means. What does a process mean? I don't think an antelope is running about processing. Yeah, Sue. So OCD, thank you so much. So OCD is about control. What are we trying to control? Terror. The end. So when we work with OCD, we're just working with the reality of terror in the body. And if you help people through believing them, not their thoughts, right? So one of the things that people get real worked up about is like, their thoughts as being real. Your thoughts are not real. I can literally right now think about like a flying elephant wearing a top hat, like coming in the room and spraying me with water. That is not real. That's made up. My thoughts are not real. My body, though, is. Terror is not a thought. Terror is a physical experience. Terror is physiological. When you are terrified, what do you have? Your heart rate goes up. What else, Lennon?
Terror?
Yeah. What do you feel when you get terrified?
I freeze.
Do you feel nauseous?
Sometimes.
But you don't feel anything.
What?
Like when you say you freeze, like it's like numbness, like the physical experience?
No, like, physical, like I can't move sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. You get cold.
Yeah.
That's very common.
Yeah. We do too.
Yeah. Fantasy. When you say fantasy, you mean sexy fantasies? Yeah, shaking. All right, but this is all very physical.
It's interesting. Nothing I thought that you would be one to get cold.
Sometimes I get hot too.
Yeah.
It's quite literally the body is dysregulated. That's the language of it, right? We want to sort of talk about like the body is not okay because terror is physically not okay in the body.
No, Maria.
Oh, Till, yeah. So, but we talked about this a little bit before about this idea of like reenactments or the repetition compulsion. So one of the things you have to understand about trauma is there's not a lot, we think that like the way people do this is you talk about it. I don't know about you, but talking about my trauma has never helped me. I'm not kidding.
I know.
Like, literally. I even said, I have this great therapist who, like, really is just an absolutely incredibly impressive therapist. And even in this season of my life, I quite literally said, and they know this, like, I don't need to talk about how I feel. I will take care of how I feel. What I need is, you to tell me it's okay to choose me, or it's okay, right? I need to be taught what is normal, what I am allowed to do, because I don't know. So I don't need help with my feelings. And in fact, I don't want help with them. I want help with how to treat or repair the neglect, right, I've experienced, and what I have never known. Because you have to understand that in order for a child to be sexually abused, we think about it as the harm. And I was talking to another survivor about this, who's spot on. But we think about it like the harm. This kind of harm, it can only happen with neglect. And so when you think about talk therapy and all this stuff about tending, right, it's like we focus on the harm, not the neglect. Well, how do you treat neglect? Oh, that's so sad for you. No, you do not, right? Well, how do you respond to someone? Well, nobody ever taught me how to do anything. Oh, no, you teach them. You teach them, right? It has to be practical. Oh, Brandy, welcome. Yes, people like that one. So basically, fawn, right, or appease is a product of long-term, I don't want to say long-term, but it exists within the freeze state. When people are like, what do you mean intellectualization is dissociation? I'm like, what do you mean? What do I mean? When you are intellectualizing everything, are you here? No. Are you in the present? No. That's what I mean. Are you in your body? No. Right. Because we're going to solve it. I'm going to solve how to get this other separate human being who I cannot control, because I cannot control human beings ever. Lenny's laughing because it's very factual. But I'm going to figure out how to control them. No, I'm not. Yeah, that's super, super normal to have your life feel like a dream. So, Tori, I use music. Like when I say to you, the most powerful way I ground myself is through music. And also what I would call, and again, people are going to get up in arms about this because of the language, but I'm saying it this way to normalize the function of it, which is self-harm. So self-harm gets a real bad rap, but I want you to think about sort of music, dancing, coming into your body, right? And when I say self-harm, I mean things like turning the cold water on in my shower and feeling the discomfort of that. Or wiggling, flailing around, right? Moving my body, jumping, running, making myself uncomfortable. That's self-harm. The degree to which, right, that exists is obviously on a spectrum, but the goal of it is to get oneself into one's body using discomfort in the body that is under your control. Where are we? Tips for caring for safe loved ones who are having a hard time without fawning. Oh, Brandy. So one of the things I think healing is about is developing or accepting the reality of separateness. So fawning says, in a way, you and I are one. Fighting says, you and I are in this together no matter what, to the death.
Something Abby likes to say.
No matter what. Right? But the reality is that we are separate people. I think about birth a lot. And I've done it twice, and I watched it once before I did it. And when my friend gave birth and I held the leg, when I had this like crazy moment, and I kept saying this to people afterwards, they were like, wow, how was that? You know, and I was like, it was crazy. There was no baby in the room, and then there was a baby. Like, there was no transition period. There was no like, right? It was like there was not another person in the room, and then there was another person. And for most of us who have lived through childhood trauma, we didn't get to be another person because our safety was, dependent upon how, our safety as children is dependent upon the people who take care of us, but it's like if you cannot be separate because you will get whatever that is.
Whatever form.
Whatever form that takes. Exactly. Then, right, you just are like, I'm not separate. I'm you. I'm with you. Whatever you think, I think. Whatever you, dependent on playing the right role, dependent upon expressing the right truth, the right part of yourself, the right whatever. But like that doesn't change. So like you have a baby. I think about this with, my experience of my kids. Like whatever fantasy I had going into becoming a mom was just rocked that first day when I was like, oh my God, this person was born with opinions. From the jump. Wants, needs, desires. Developing a character. Like a shtick, like a false self. Yeah. Like a yeah. So yeah, if you're not a boy and you played it out as a boy, think of it this way. If you were hurt by a boy, it would make sense that you're playing it out as a boy to show somebody what happened, factually. Do we need to wiggle? Do we need to wait? It's really weird to see myself on this thing. Because Lenny's nodding. Delayed. Oh. At any rate.
Stop it.
Okay. What do you think? Do we need another one?
Should we get another question? Okay.
Everybody reenacts. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a fantasy is like, but yeah, totally normal. Totally normal. I mean, what's not normal?
Abusing children.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? I said, what's not normal? Lenny said, abusing children. That's it. That's what's not normal. How those children respond to it, all normal. Yes, Till, because that character had power. That character had power. How many of us have not, tried to be in some way, shape, or form the perpetrator because that was our understanding of what power was? And I don't mean in that specific way. Right? I mean being like, well, until I'm like them, I'm not going to be okay or have enough power. Ladybug it? All right, Lenny, hit me.
All right. I like this. This is about reclaiming your body. Have you ever felt an inner need to somehow reclaim your body? And ideas.
So first of all, have you ever felt an inner need to reclaim your body? Lenny?
Ongoing.
Anybody else? Anybody else? We'll put you here.
Yeah, for real.
So many up. I'll put a foot.
All the limbs.
All the limbs. Yeah. Okay. Does that not make profound sense? So the way I would conceptualize this is I need to make my body mine. Mm-hmm. Right? Because reclaiming it it implies that I at one time had it.
True.
Now, maybe some people have, right? Like that doesn't, but like I didn't. At one point, I never had it. So I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's betraying me again. It's betraying me. No, it was betrayed. So part of this, like what we want to do, right? The ideas of it. So I will ask you, Lenny, what are some ways that you have reclaimed or owned what belongs to you?
I would say piercings and tattoos are a big one for me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I grew up in a household that was not allowed. Ever. Devilish.
Piercings and tattoos. Can we...
And being a homosexual.
Absolutely.
Being a big raging dyke.
It's a beautiful thing, Lenny. It's a really beautiful thing.
It is.
Same, Lenny. Same. Yeah. Again, this is... Right? This is a thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, your turn.
Piercings and tattoos, changing my hair a lot, being very preoccupied with what I don't know, like having very strong opinions about what I look like in the world. Lenny and I had an interesting conversation where I was saying to them, we were talking about, I think last live, I sort of said, like, talking about kind of like sexuality and identity and sort of like, attraction. And one of the things that I was thinking about, right, because of like my experience, it's going to take me a second to understand, again, how did I put it? I thought
what are you trying to talk
I was
about?
saying, like, not knowing. Like, how I could not know what or who, like, my gender identity or this idea of, like, not knowing. And I was saying, like, I'm fine with not knowing. I don't need to know. I don't need, right, to, say, and that. But I was saying I don't need to know because I never couldn't not know. It's a lot of double negatives. But like part of it is like I don't know, like not knowing is sometimes okay. So part of the way that I have reclaimed my body is to be like, I don't know what it wants to do. I don't know what it's going to do, right? Like because it's not me being like, I am this or I am that or I am not, right? I get to be like, it'll tell me. What else? So tattoos, piercing. I also like Botox and fillers, just FYI.
I feel like that's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
Did we miss anything?
What else you guys got? How have you owned what belongs to you? How have you been you? Anybody? Yeah, that's a really good point, Abigail.
Mm-hmm.
Like movement, that's a really good. So massage, acupuncture. I love to dance. Yeah, exactly. That's another way I would say I really reclaim it. Or I've really gotten into playing soccer right now. So that's that. But these are all like Didn't see that one coming, but here we go.
Mm.
But, you know, it does make sense. But that's it. Movement. Hi, Riley. Singing. Yep, 100%.
Hi, Riley.
Running. Amazing. Is anybody going to talk about self-stimulation as a way of reclaiming the body?
I almost did, but I decided maybe TikTok wouldn't like that.
Yep. Yep. Well, your instincts were good. Did you hear self-stimulation? Yeah, this is Lenny. I'm never going to get over that we thought it was a good idea to call alive Lenny and Abby beyond the porch.
Beyond the barn. And then Maria had to start throwing up the damn barn people. Maria, are you still here?
Yeah, totes. That is Lenny, yes. So again, like part of it is like, you know, the idea of like owning one's own body is being like, my body is, sometimes I used to like hate this language, but like my body is good. Well, good and evil, right, is like something, this space that like survivors work in a lot, right? a lot of binaries. And, you know, your body is, like that saying, all good bodies are good bodies is just about like all bodies are equally bodies. They're bodies. And anything we do, like you don't actually, you know, a lot of the stuff that I used to focus on, I mean, I've always been vain, but, you know, I was like, I have to look good like a straight, you know, hetero therapist who people will trust and has a perfect life and a wonderful husband and great children and whatever.
Fuck that.
Yeah, it turns out like I now get to be me. Yeah, that's Lenny Rants. That's Lenny Rants. Does anybody, so one of the things I want to have in our community is a Spotify playlist. No, I am a therapist. But in my head, I wanted to look like a therapist that I imagined other people would never judge, would go, oh, that person has their shit together. Oh, that person is whatever, right? As opposed to being like, I will practice therapy and my humanity as who I am, which is not for everybody, but that's fine. Yeah, so we're going to have a playlist and, you know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, for real. I
For
would
real.
want a therapist like that.
Well, I wasn't good at it, Lenny. I was not good at being...
I'd be like, look at this normie. They won't understand me. A new goal.
I really liked, though, a contradiction. So that was part of like, oh, wrong thing. I mean, I always was me. You know? Couldn't get away from that. Yeah. Well, but that's the thing, Brandy. Like, part of it is, too, I think, the concept that, like, what I believed was the only human anybody wanted to see looked like that. That was the only thing people actually would see. And that's not true. I was told that. But that does not end up being true. Because I was me. And still am. Currently. What about you, Lenny?
You've always been you. What about me?
I have always been me.
What's the question?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't.
Do we need a question? Who else could you be but me? Well, that I think is a big part of what survivors of childhood trauma, and particularly childhood sexual trauma.
I mean, which me?
Or is it me?
No, right. There's lots of me's to be real.
Yeah, it's good. congratulations, Riley. That's a huge achievement. That is a huge achievement. A huge achievement. It's a huge achievement to,
Well, to one, find someone.
Word.
And two, go. Good for you.
It's really scary.
Yeah.
It's really, really scary. And that's okay. I think part of it, what a beautiful thing, B. Yeah, but I think that's part of that's... my great joke is that things that excite me. So for a long time, and this is very common for survivors, we don't know the difference between excitement and fear in our own bodies. So because the people I loved hurt me, I, again, didn't understand that this was what was happening, but I put love and fear together. And I called it excitement because nobody explained to me that fear, I knew fear wasn't okay in love, right? You're not supposed to have fear, but I didn't know anything else. So I was like, well, this is excitement, right? Like this is. So what I've come to learn as I move through the world is that what I sometimes mistake for fear is excitement, right? And because excitement involves hope. Let me say that again. Excitement involves hope, right? Hope can be really scary if you were quite literally disappointed over and over and over again. So it's like hope is scary. Hope is not scary. It's good. The feelings are good. So what I often have been like, oh no, that's fear. No, that's excitement. And I'm like, oh no, that's excitement. I am interested in you. No, I'm scared of you. You are a scary person. Right? But I didn't know that. And now I do. So part of this, when again, we look at sort of like the experience of survivors and the profile, a lot of us feel a ton of shame for stuff we don't know. And then you have to be like, well, hang on. How am I supposed to know what I've never been given the opportunity to learn, what nobody taught me? Right? Nobody taught me. So that's part of what this community is going to offer, right? It's one thing to like hear me talk a lot, right? You get peer, all of this great stuff. All the plans we have. But the big thing that I think that we need is to treat the neglect. Not so much the harm, but the neglect. And I'm not treating everybody's neglect. Like, I said to Lenny yesterday, I was like, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate what you're doing. And Lenny was like, what am I doing? And I was like, you're living alongside me right now. That is beyond anything I can possibly describe. We're not going to go into that, but we know each other from childhood. That's how we know each other. And apparently we've always been the same. Which is pretty funny. Yeah.
Lenny.
My dear friend's daughter is Ellie and I.
But it's Lenny, not Lainey.
Yeah. It's short for Lenore.
Oh.
Isn't that fabulous? Yeah, I mean, we all were alone. All of us. All of us. There's nothing worse you can do to another human being than to isolate them. Abby, that is an interesting question. They're now, the short answer is yes. Because people make sense. All right, Lenny, hit me.
All right.
Hit me.
Can we talk about the deep feeling that you are a bad person?
We're with you, Becca. We're with you. Right now. You can feel... One of the things that I think a lot about, right, is like when feelings... I'll answer that in a question. But I can remember, right? This is quite literally. When I feel profoundly alone, I am remembering being profoundly alone. I am remembering being so alone, right? And so terrified and so unable to do anything about it. That feeling, the feeling I'm feeling is a feeling that was generated in that moment, in those circumstances, in that event. And though that event, that thing, the catalyst that did that, those feelings were 100% appropriate. And so what I have to do a lot is when I get the feeling of being alone triggered, right? Or that, right? Because that's my understanding of what alone can mean. From a very real place, I have to be like, okay, yep, that's what alone feels like to me. But now I got to look around and be like, but am I?
So would that be like an emotional flashback?
I think it's just like wisdom. Mm-hmm. It's being like, we don't look around a room every time being like, is that a wall? Or is that, a desk? Or is that, what is that, right? That's not how we work. So it's like, this is what you learned alone, that feeling was indicative of. And for survival, you're going to kind of protect against, right? Survival says if you feel that feeling, you're in danger. So you and that was really dangerous. So part of it is like, you know how dangerous you can get and you have to be on guard. And you'll be like, oh my God, it's happening. It's not. But I wouldn't call it a flashback. I just call it wisdom. And the whole thing is to look around and be like, but wait a minute. Where am I? Oh, I'm here. Oh, right. I'm a grown up. I have a phone. I can call somebody. I can do this. I can do that. I can, I used to when I lived in New York by myself, there was a period of time I went through a breakup, and then I lived in this very weird little house behind somebody else's house. And I was alone a lot, and I actually was doing a lot of processing of things. I'm not even clear, but it was meaningful. But every weekend I would just read a lot of books in my little tiny house. And then on Sundays, to get myself back into the world, I would take myself to a movie in Times Square, because I had to get my body used to being with people, but also still being alone, if that makes sense. And I think of it kind of like that, in a different way, that Riley, on, what is it called? Thursday. Thursday, I will be live again. We do Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's fun. Zoe, I think everybody has different experiences of that. When I need to establish safety, and for me, a lot of the time, people are not safe. not because they're, people have not been safe, but I go to Ross. Yeah. I also make no eye contact.
Word.
Which I really learned in New York. I lived in New York for 20 years. Yeah, Trader Joe's, right? But like I go do things with people who are around me, but I am not interacting with said people. That's why I liked the movie. Although I remember this one time, and I thought it was so weird. This woman looked at me. I went to a movie. I had a whole shtick. I would get a popcorn. I would get my soda. I would go. It was really lovely. And this woman looked at me and she goes, "You're so brave to go alone." And I was like, what world are you in? First of all, this is not brave. Second of all, why would you go to a movie with anybody? You're watching a movie. Yeah. Walmart. All of these things. All right, back to the
Exhausts me even talking about going out into the world.
Well, again, it depends on what you're doing. If you have to interact or manage other human beings in the world, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just wandering, Thank you, Brandy. Thank you. Thanks for being here. What is the question? Does anybody have a question? Does anybody have a question you'd like? I just was looking for my phone.
I get it. Oh, you go first.
Oh, thank you. Goal achieved. Goal achieved, you remarkable human beings. Oh, I just got a hat. What do you want to do? A puff? Dose. That's not dose. I'm trying to learn Spanish. I'm not very good at it. Bye, Becca. How do we affirm inner knowing and deal with questioning those memories? So I'm going to give you some strange language. When I find myself in a space of serious questioning, the first thing I ask myself, if I can get myself there, is, does it matter? Because to be very clear, depending on how, again, I'm not the arbiter of reality. People have responded to my platform, to this, to that, with actions that are interesting, to say the least. And when I say, does it matter? What I'm trying to say is well, what does it matter? What would I change? What could I do? And I think this depends on where you are or what you've done with what you know. Bye, Abby. But what does it matter? For me right now, no. Also, because reality is not just what I know, but it's what other people know. It's what actions other people have taken. And that is easier to not question. Right? Right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. But that's where I sort of think about this space of what would it actually concretely mean if this is not true, right? Or I made it right. Again, what does it matter? What would it change? In my world right now, absolutely nothing. And that makes it a lot easier to be well, that's because it's true. I mean... Well, I think the question of being a crazy person is a good one. But is somebody who, and again, I wouldn't be like as somebody. So all survivors are told they're crazy when they tell the truth. I don't even say survivors, right? One of my favorite quotes is, insanity in women is often, no, courage in women is often mistaken for insanity. Like, I have been told throughout my life I'm very angry. I'm a very angry woman. Anybody else? You want to ladybug that one? Anybody else been told they're full of rage? They're really angry? Mm-hmm. So I'm not angry. I'm actually a pretty easygoing human being. But I am brave. Yeah, aggressive. And when somebody does something that doesn't make sense, I have said, "What are you doing?" Yeah, it's also courage. It's also care, right? I don't fight with people I don't love. So anytime I have, I wish I yelled at people who I don't. I mean, I've only yelled at people I love, and it was to, be like, "Stop doing what you're doing. It's not good, blah, blah, blah." No,
You're a shit team member. Sorry, had to.
I only said it because I cared. This is a really good story. At some point that will come out here. But yeah, I told that to Lenny. I said, yeah. But part of this is like, yeah, it's not, like, I right. I don't have feelings about things I don't care about. And what is often mistaken as aggression is, being like, "This is important." My delivery could really be worked on sometimes, though. I'm not trying to say this is, but that's right, exactly. And being like, "Why are you treating me the way I treat you? What are you doing?" If I don't like people, I just don't talk to them. That's real. If I don't like, if I actually was angry at somebody and did not care, and I think this is, right, like, I have a Scorpio moon. I will just, we get, like, there's real loyalty, but then we get to a point where I'm just like, we're done. We're done. Scorpio moons have mastered the art of the grudge. It's not actually a grudge, right? It's just like, you're dead to me. It's not a grudge. To be clear, I'm not up late at night. I'm not, right? It's just like, no, I will love you till the day you die until I don't. And then, I mean,
you're fucked.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know what I am also a Scorpio rising and a Scorpio Mars.
Oh, God.
And a Scorpio. There's something else. It's dark. It's dark, guys. No, it's fine. But, yes, I scare people, Liminal. I'm an intimidating person, apparently, in the world.
Because you're feral.
Because I'm feral. I just think I don't give a fuck anymore.
That's amazing.
Is it?
Yeah, I think we all need to get to that point.
Well, I just think it's a ridiculous thing when people say, I think a lot of people believe that you have control over things that you do not have any control over at all. And so they tell you to do things that make no sense. And I'm tired of doing things that make no sense. That was a real roller coaster.
You've always made a lot of sense, though.
I've also always been feral. It's true.
It's true.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Also, this is the other thing where I think about this concept of like, and again, maybe it makes sense. Like, I am happy to be kind, but I'm not under no obligation. I'm no longer under any obligation. My natural orientation is to be kind, but I am under no obligation. And, Sheila, you are so welcome. Thank you for the work you do. I don't owe anybody my kindness. I don't owe anybody my time. I don't owe anybody anything. I mean, except for, some money, but I'm working on that. It's capitalism, right? But like that's fine. You pay people, right? But I don't owe them my emotional self. I can owe them practical things, right? We repay debts, we do these things, but like I don't owe them any particular experience of me. Do we live together? No. No.
I live in a different state.
Yep. Lenny is visiting, which is pretty great.
Identify yourself.
This is Lenny's new thing. Identify yourself.
Who are you? And why are you asking? Just kidding. Just kidding. Kind of.
Thank you. We were roommates, Lenny.
Were we?
I mean, I don't even know.
No. Do we look like Mormons? I would think that.
Really? Have we made it to Mormon TikTok?
I mean, like, look at
this.
Look at this, though. I would assume that people would think we're gay.
You
Not
are
Mormon.
gay. You
well,
are
I
gay.
am gay.
And I look very gay.
That's what I mean. You look gayer than I do.
I know that. But I just am sort of moved by the question of, are we Mormons?
Are we Mormon? I love it. I love that question.
I do too, because quite frankly, when I was really aspiring to be the most never sexually abused wife and mother that had ever existed, I would go on Mormon TikTok and I would look at the pantries of these mothers that were so beautifully organized, and I would shame myself. Why was the first thing I heard, I look gay? It was part of a topic of conversation, right? But like, yeah, no, I was like, well, this is, if I can achieve this, no one will ever know. That clearly did not work out, as this is not a platform where we do pantry organization. But
you'll never see that here. We're not doing that.
I can't.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I was just I was fantasizing about being able to be that controlled, and I never could be. Ever. It's a real, failure on my part for such a long time. It actually is the thing that I needed in the medicine and, all of that. Sorry, I knocked you over. But, thank you. We are beautiful. We are both, I don't want to speak for you, but we are both CSA survivors. Katrina,
I mean, you can say that. That's fine.
You...
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious.
To this point, Katrina, that is a funny thing to say, because Katrina actually knows what it's like to live with me. And a pantry organization never did happen, did it? Never did happen. Yes, exactly, B. That's it, exactly. There was a lot of other fun things that happened, but organizing anything, no, we did not have a pantry. Well, G, welcome. You are among friends. We, I'm Abby. This is Lenny. I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse and a therapist and a trauma-informed coach. And I am working with Lenny and all of these folks here, actually, who we're creating a community for survivors of childhood sexual abuse. And that's what we do. And we spread the word about the reality of abuse, because you can't stop something unless you know it exists.
And you can sign up for the newsletter in the bottom left-hand corner for the community.
Ba-boom.
Organized abuse over organized pantry.
That's good, Limma. That's good.
Survivors are funny.
God, we're so funny. What's Section 3? I don't know how the UK healthcare system works.
What does that mean?
Well, that's what I mean.
Like they institutionalized you? I'm sorry. Like, so careful.
Do you have the time?
I do. It is 1:26.
You aren't alone. Many of us have also been through that experience. Mm-hmm. It's very common with trauma. I mean, I think the reality is, I have come to understand, but I also knew this when I started this platform. Talking about this is going to invite people who want to silence it.
Is there somebody in here?
No.
Oh.
But thank you, Lenny.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Great protector. But one of the things that, like, when people tell the truth, and the truth jeopardizes other people's livelihoods or their freedom or their role in a community or any of these things, then what you're going to expect is something called DARVO, right? And DARVO it stands for deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. And the research from this comes from why am I blanking on her name? Jennifer Freyd. She's a professor. She was out of the University of Oregon and now is at Stanford, but she has studied DARVO. She is also the daughter of the founders of the False Memory Foundation. If you don't know what the False Memory Foundation, it was a foundation that had a really, really great media program, marketing group. Like, they were amazing PR firm, and but really shit research. So Dr. Jennifer Freyd recovered her experience of being sexually abused, and I'm only sharing this because she has shared it publicly. So and identified her father as being the perpetrator. And in response, her father and her mother created the False Memory Foundation. And the truth, though, is pretty great because it's not arguable. So while the False Memory Foundation fell apart because members of the board were found to actually harm children and the research was shit, Dr. Freud has a quite literal lab where they study DARVO from an individual experience and institutional experience, mm-hmm. and is now working out of Stanford. Not saying Stanford's like the arbiter of reality, but right, they, the truth is the truth. And while the False Memory Foundation, again, great PR, but PR is only good PR if, it's not over the long term. You can do crisis intervention, you can do all this stuff, that's fine. But it's not, the truth is not negotiable. Yeah, the truth is not an opinion. The truth is an action. You know what I'm saying? Well, we do have each other right now, but there's power. Power to the people, man. Power to the people. Just hang in there, okay? Part of this is, we have to build a community because you can silence one person. You can discredit one person. There's a rule of 3. Well, whether I believe my own experience or not, I got more than 3 who were right there with me. So just wait. So Casey, advice is a strange thing. I can't give you advice. I can tell you to hold fast. And that the power is in the process, not the outcome. Right? Your power is in holding fast to what is true and real, and that you are you and you are real, and no matter what anybody says about that, you walking into those spaces, being in those spaces is telling the truth, and no one will ever be able to take that from you, or nobody ever imagined you would do that, and that's fucking epic. Right? We don't hold people accountable for the harm they did to us. We, I always joke, it's not me, I'm not the legal system, I can't, right? The things outside of my control. However, I am real. And what happened is real. And that's it. You got it. Well, you, not even just your voice, your presence. You living is your power. You not getting wrapped up in this is your power. A safe space for yourself.
I can.
What do you think? You can't?
I said I can.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Go off.
Well, I use my closet as a safe space all the time. Make it comfortable.
I think the question is, because I think part of this is how do I be a safe space for myself? I can't, because I'm me. So I can't, right? I am me, but I
I
can.
misread it.
No, you nailed it. Because that question, I think it's like you to be like, how do I make my? That's you're looking at you instead of being you, so you can choose safety for yourself. So like Lenny said, right? Like closet. I mean, I'm telling you, that in and of itself, like you can choose safety for yourself, or floors, lying down, Mac, hello. What else? What else do I like? I love a weighted blanket. I love a Lois. If you don't know Lois, you should. Everybody needs a Lois.
You can go on the website and look at Lois.
You can. Lois is on the website. Lois is on the website. I also like to be outside. Yeah. I mean, again, there's no like right way. A Goodwill. Safe space. But you can cultivate safety.
Being in the car too, like
my website.
Driving.
Yes, that's really important. My website. Up in the bio on my profile, there's now a link in bio, and you can go to the website. The website is up and running. You can book a consultation call with me for coaching stuff. We're still, this is going to be built slowly. I wish there was like whatever, I'm a person. But, the website is up. It's functional. Thanks to members of this community. Because nobody does this alone. Nobody. I mean, we all have, but like...
Not anymore, god damn it.
Never again. Never again. Good. The newsletter. Yes. Updates. We're just crafting right now. It's like the mailing list. So as there is something to report, you will have it. But you can also just go to www.peoplemakesense.org and poke around. See what you think. See Lois.
It's going to be great.
It is going to be great. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to stay anonymous, but you can. I think part of it is the option to. I think safety comes from having the option to. It doesn't mean you're going to have to, right? But like how people negotiate this is allowed to vary depending on the degree of safety they require or need, or that can change. You can do, I'm not anonymous.
I am not anonymous.
Not anymore. Yeah. Should we do another question?
I'm having the feeling you didn't like that question, so
I did like that question, but it's so big. Right? How do you work with the feeling of being a bad person is so big.
Okay. What about please tell me how to heal thyself? Is that too big? Just kidding.
Would you like me to tell you what to do?
Yes.
I
know. Okay, how much of our childhood should we remember, and what age do people start remembering things?
That's a really good question.
Like children.
So the idea of what you should remember is not like you should remember these details. No. You should have a cohesive sense that you existed from birth to whenever. That like you were there. Does that, right? Like that's what I mean. Not like for example, and maybe people can share their internal experiences, right? But like there are various periods in my life where I'm like, couldn't tell you. Like I have seen pictures, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember being there. Like I see the picture, I'm like, yes, that was a party I was at. I did that.
I remember those people.
Right. But the actual like cohesive sense that like I grew up does not exist. I did not grow up, right? I was 5. I was 9. I was 12. I was maybe 16-ish. Like, that part's a little bit like I'm a ghost. But I was 16, and then I was 21. So that's what I'm saying when it comes to sort of like, yeah, like okay, so most people are like, I was 1, I was 2, I was 3, I was 4, I was 5, I was 6, I was 7, I was 8, right? Like, that's what I mean. It's a sense of like you were there for all of that. No. I was 9. Was I 8?
Yes.
I mean, yes, but like, again. So there's that piece. And then what age do people start to remember? So this varies, but basically, and there's 2 ways of thinking about remembering. So there's the group who did not know, right? The group who forgot, which I am a part of, and you are a part of. And then there's the group who knew, but it didn't affect them. Okay? And that group, right? So we all have some degree of remembering. When I say remembering, it's like understanding the impact. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's part of like how this functions. So those like memories or accepting one's own experience, coming into awareness, however you want to talk about it, happens in typically, what's the word? At the same time as a change in your life. So you'll see people, and sometimes with power, and it's funny because often that like feels like powerlessness, but it actually is power in something. So for example, right, you'll see it when people leave home. You'll see it when people, graduate or get a degree or a professional thing, right, or start a job. You'll see it in that changes. In conjunction with, thank you, Brittany, that's what I was looking for. So you'll see it in, a change in partnership, like whether you become partnered or unpartnered. You'll see it with pregnancy, birth, parenthood. You'll see it with puberty. You'll see it with menopause. You'll see it with moving. You will see it with, right?
Your kid becoming that age that you started getting abused.
Yeah. But it's all about sort of like a shift in power, because part of the reason I would argue, moon pipe, great, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself. Come back home. Come back home.
See you Thursday.
See you Thursday. Like, part of the reason why you will have, I believe, that people start to recover experience when their child is the same age that they are when they were harmed is because they have the power to do something. So, again, yeah, reset, yes, it can. And it's funny, it's not funny, this is not the right language, but like, it's sort of strange how that works. Because if you are essayed in adulthood, which is still an experience of powerlessness, part of that is like you still have more power than you did as a kid. So anytime this, right, it's like you have to have power to remember. You have to be able to do something you could not do before in order to remember. Does that resonate with anybody? And it does not feel like you have power. To be very clear, these moments, at least in my experience, I'm actually pretty boring when it comes to when I recovered my experience and why and the timing and blah, blah, blah. But like, it did not feel like I had power. It felt like my life fell apart. And then I remembered this, but or knew it. But the reality is that it was because I did have power. Clearly. Because here we are. Does safety equal power? That's such a beautiful question. So safety, I would say no. Safety can facilitate power, but power and safety are two different things in my understanding. Power is the ability to take an action. That I have an ability that I did not have before because I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm this, I'm that, right? I have an ability, I can. Safety is, and this is, I think, where you're going, which is really meaningful, but I have the power to create safety. Right? So like in this moment when people kind of come into and they're like, what, like for me, I moved somewhere, I had a second child, I was in the middle of, like felt completely and utterly powerless. Nothing was the way I wanted it to be, nothing was, right? But even though it felt that way, like I had the power every single day to wake up and be like, I'm going to take care of that kid and I'm going to go to work and I'm going to do this and I'm going to go, to this discount store and find something and I'm going to drive and I'm going to, right? Because I could. But when I was a child and a young adult and this stuff was happening to me, I didn't have any power to do any of those things. I didn't get to drive till I was 19. So, I couldn't even go anywhere. So there's a real it doesn't feel powerful, but the actual, right? Exactly, Abigail, exactly, right? That's exactly it. Also super normal. So when I graduated from my master's program, the first thing I did was freak the fuck out and then decide that I had to go back to school to become a nurse. I kid you not. Because I was afraid of my power. And it's not actually that I was afraid of my power. It's that the people who harmed me were afraid of my power. And that's what I want you to sort of kind of think about when you think about sort of the way in which survivors are conditioned to respond to their own power. Right? Me having the ability to do this serves me. And hopefully you. It does not serve the people who harmed me. I don't think. Maybe it will one day. Bye, Julia. And that's what I want to sort of keep leaning into, that a lot of times we go, oh no, I'm not supposed to do that. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that. Oh, I'm not supposed to do that. No, you are. You were just told you weren't. Jen, I'm no doctor. What I will say is we do have a lot of research, and this is ideally going to be on the website too, that we're going to have peer-reviewed articles so people, when we have these questions, you can actually go to the research and be able to look at it. But there is a very profound connection between childhood sexual abuse and, harm in general, and pregnancy outcomes. And the ability to get pregnant. And that, has to do with dissociation. So I'm always happy to share my experience. I say this to Melanie a lot. So with my first pregnancy, my first child, I was deep in dissociation. Just wildly dissociated. And I had a C-section because I failed to progress, is the lovely language that they love to say to you. I failed birth, guys. Mm-hmm. No, I did not. And then the second time, right, I was less dissociated for a variety of different reasons, but a lot of it had to do with, one, not being as afraid because I'd done it before. And I read an amazing book. I followed none of the advice in this book, but listening to the book was really helpful, which was Birth Without Fear, if anybody is in this space. And I just listened to a lot of hardcore rock too, and rap. That really got me through. And I had a magical delivery that I joke all the time that 16 months apart, but that child shone the light. After that birth, there was no returning to the dissociated state. There was nothing that we were done. My body was awake. So, that's reflected in the data. All OBGYNs know about this. It's not something that's talked about a lot, which is unfortunate, but it's really, really true. I mean, Cerber, I will talk about this as like the most, I was lucky enough in that second pregnancy. I didn't know. I was terrified. I was scared. I wasn't expecting to be pregnant. All of this stuff. I got pregnant. This is where you talk about the ability of one person to change your experience. I'm going to cry.
I knew it. I heard it. I heard it coming.
I walked in, I worked with it. There was an OBGYN practice with the first child and, a lot of males, when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, I gotta come in, I'm freaking out. And I happened to meet with a woman physician, and she changed my life because she believed me and she helped me to have the experience I wanted, which I was told I could not try to have a vaginal birth 60 months apart. I'm an old lady, whatever, all this stuff. And every time I'd see the male doctors, they'd be like, you can't do this is wrong, and I'd be like, I don't know, who knows what's going to happen. And when I tell you, we had a C-section scheduled for 9 a.m. on the morning of the 26th. That's what I'm going to, and I had started to go into labor didn't know. Anyway, I drove myself to the hospital for my pre-surgical testing. I was in active labor, and she allowed me to, I don't even say allow, but she just encouraged me to figure out, to take it one moment at a time. And my kid was born. She delivered my kid at 9:26 in the morning, the same day I was supposed to have that C-section. So the universe is kind. She got it. It wasn't even, I think sometimes that concept of holding space sometimes confuses me. I'm very practical. I'm like, what does that mean? She just said, I trust you. You're real. You're not going to get this wrong. I know that you want to have a healthy baby. I know you're not trying to be like, this is about me, right? I trust you, and we'll just keep talking our way through this and figure this out, and your quality of life. Because again, this is part of what pregnancy and birth and motherhood and parenthood that everybody loves to talk about. Like, how do you keep kids safe? How do you make people okay? How do you keep mothers safe? You keep good parents safe. You keep attached parents, parents who are attached to their children, you keep them safe, you protect their mental health, you support them, and your children will be safe. That is what you do.
And you write the rest of your family off.
That's right.
Forgot that part. You gotta write off the abusers.
I mean, to each their own. But again, it just, that's how you keep children safe. You worry about childhood neglect, you support parents to support their children.
Bye, Zoe.
My Zoe. I do believe in parts. I believe in the reality of dissociation. I believe in parts. I believe in alters. I believe that everybody knows their own internal experience, and I cannot. So I'm always interested to hear about people's internal experiences because, again, there's no normal person because there's no normal environment a person is raised in. What time is that? It time anyway. So we are going to, I will see you on Thursday. We'll do this again. I used to have a sign off. I'll figure it out. And if you have any ideas about topics for a live or things you want, us to bring in or what might be helpful, I would love to know. And in the meantime, I am for you. I love you. I believe you. And if somebody doesn't, in the immortal words of my mother, Deb Sills, fuck them, they're trash.
Fucking trash. There you go.
There it is.
That was good. That was good.
All right. Bye, guys.
That was... All right.